Thank you. Lavelle Neal, Minneapolis Star Tribune. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Fine,
Excellent. What's it like for you to be, not just because with Tony, but with David Ortiz, with a rather Minnesota-centric Hall of Fame class this year? What's it like? What's your thoughts about being part of that?
Well, I think that makes it, a little more special. And obviously, I didn't have any experience with David in Minnesota, but with Tony, it's very special because I know Tony's backstory from when he came up and got released in spring training in '61 and then Rookie of the Year in '64. So, I got to see him really develop as a player that could miss the entire fly ball without getting any leather on it in the instructional league in '62, and then 4 years later he wins a Gold Glove. So, it's an honor to go enter with Tony because his road to the big leagues was much more difficult than mine.
Jerry, Evan over there.
Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Jerry Beach from 7-Star Digital. I kind of piggyback on that question. There was a time not too long ago where Minnesota's future was a little uncertain in Major League Baseball. What's it mean for you and Tony and David to kind of go in and represent the Twins now that the future's been solidified for the franchise? And obviously the team's in first place now and has made the playoffs a bunch of times the last 20 years. What's it mean to you guys that kind of gotten through that, to rep the team and knowing Joe Mauer might be coming in a few years and things are pretty good in Minnesota right now? Thank you.
Yeah, I think what's special going in as a Twin is I reported to the Instruction League on October 26, 1960, and I had Senators on my uniform, in front of my uniform. By the end of the day, we were the Minnesota Twins. So, to go up there, and we knew how the Braves were, they were so happy going from Boston to Milwaukee, and so to come to Minnesota when the expectations to win a pennant were not high because we weren't that good then, but just the way they welcomed us because it was big league baseball, and raised my kids there in their early years, so it was such a great atmosphere, and the old country ballpark atmosphere of Metropolitan Stadium. I'm sure glad that the Twins didn't lose their franchise and I'm able to go in as a Twin.
Okay, in the back.
Jim, Randy Shaver.
Hey, Randy.
How are you?
Fine. Thanks so much for that piece you did. It was great.
I appreciate it. When I talked to you in April, you were practicing your speech in your car as you would drive around trying to get the timing down. Have you got the timing down? And what will we hear tomorrow that will be special?
I had it down in practice to 11 and a half minutes. But they even told me I have a little leeway. There were a couple things I cut out. But I would say the two main, thank a lot of people and organizations, but the main two would be my dad and Jack McKeon, who will be there tomorrow. He was my minor league manager in 1958, and I wanted to tell a story about how without his support and encouragement, I probably wouldn't be here.
Evan on the end, Tyler.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Tyler.
What have been some of the standout moments for you just since you've gotten here to Cooperstown? I know there's more to come, but any people who've said something meaningful or things you've learned in the last few days?
I would say, I got some nice calls the day after the announcement. Jim Thome was my first call, no surprise. And then I got a nice call from Sandy Koufax. And that meant a lot to me because, Sandy and I have become acquaintances over the years. He stays very private, but that was so nice of him to call. That one stood out. And so that was the first moments. I think the orientation was a great experience to find out, how we're being prepared for this. I think those are the things that. I'll have to say one other thing. The day after I got elected, I got a call from Willa Allen. And Willa Allen is Dick's widow. And Dick Allen and I were like joined at the hip. We were teammates in Philadelphia, in Chicago. He learned the game from Gene Mauch. We used to sit and talk baseball, go to the horse races together. And, if they could have voted for 5 of us, I think Dick would have got in, because missed by a vote. So when Willa called, she was so happy, and Dick would be so happy, you know, because he'd passed away. And I said, Willa, think about it. If it came down to that last vote, and he had a choice of voting for Dick or me, and he voted for Dick, I said, I'd be calling you, because then I'd have had 11 votes, and he'd have had 12. And so that's how fine the line was. That was real special of her to call.
Evan, Bill, on me right there. Go ahead.
Hi, Jim. Steve Buckley from The Athletic. Obviously, you have a connection with Ted Williams dating back to facing him at Fenway as a kid with the Washington Senators, but you spent a ton of time in New England over the years, and I was just wondering if you learned more about him through osmosis, just things you've read, being in the area, and so forth. If you could just speak to that.
Sure. Well, when I first faced Ted Williams in '59, I remember turning around and looking at my second baseman, John Shivey, because I had seen Ted Williams and Tom Yawkey, the owner, and Johnny Orlando, the clubhouse guy. They played Pepper every day before the game. So I had walked out early and watched them play Pepper. And then I said to Shivey, I'm facing Ted Williams, where he rips one off the monster off me. And then the following year, I did get him out once, but I'm going up to play golf in Central Florida years after that. And I went in the pro shop. That's where his hitting museum was for a while. And I walked in the pro shop. I said, Ted Williams ever come out here and play golf? He says, he's on the 17th hole right now with Eddie Feiner, the famous softball pitcher. So they give me a card. I drive out. He comes over the green. I have my friend Doc Gallagher with me. I want to introduce him to Ted Williams. And he walks off the green, and I went over to shit. Mr. Williams, don't give me that Mr. Williams stuff. I know who you are, trying to throw me that overhand curve, you know. So that was the kind of guy he was. And then I was honored to speak at the dedication of his tunnel. I think that was '97, the Ted Williams tunnel. So yeah, it was fun to get to cross paths and to talk baseball a little bit with Ted.
Bill Atson at MLB.com. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you.
Early this year, you were telling me how much Bobby Chance meant to you. I'm just wondering, will he be here and talk about how he meant to you, what he meant to you, and also how does it feel to be going into the Rod Carew as well?
Yeah. Well, Rod Carew's already there, but Bobby Chance, kind of a clever story if it's accurate, and I may mention it, but he was my boyhood hero. He's 96 now. When he was 93 and I was 80, I gave him a legacy award at the Rawlings Gold Glove dinner. And then this year, after I got voted into the Hall of Fame, he wanted to come to the induction, but Steve, kind of his guy that drives him around, said, Bobby's going to be watching, but you know, he can't make it. I heard that he fell chasing a runaway grocery cart in a supermarket parking lot. I said, that's got to be a hero of mine at 96 at least. But you know, when I was a kid, it was a radio game. And my dad was a big Philadelphia Athletics fan, drove here to Cooperstown to see Lefty Grill's induction. And so I would hear the announcer say, and here's Bobby Chance, best fielding pitcher in baseball. He lands on the balls of his feet. He's whether to go left or right. He's always ready for a ball hit back at him. I'd go in my backyard. I'd mimic Bobby's motion. I get to spring training. We do pitcher's drills for a couple times. Coach said, kid, you look just like Bobby Chance. So I'm 6'5", he was 5'6". But he was my boyhood hero and was the best fielding pitcher of his era. And he inspired me to try to field my position properly.
Brian. Wait for the mic. Let's bring the mic down.
Hey, Jim, congratulations.
Hi, Brian. Thank you.
Times Argus in Barrie, Vermont. Jim, I know one of the questions I asked Bob Costas a few years ago when he was on the stage was your name, and what about the possibility of either being in as a player, a broadcaster, or the Buck O'Neill Award for all you've done as an ambassador for the game? And he thought all three of them fit your category at that point. I just wanted to let you know, I mean, between the broadcasting and the playing days, you have great memories from both. Is there anything you can share from a broadcaster standpoint?
Well, I just think like Jack Buck told me when he first saw me, I was doing Good Morning America reports for David Hartman in '83. Jack Buck sees me and he calls me over, he said, you getting into this business? And I said, I don't know, I'm just, my career just ended, I'm trying it. I thought he was going to give me some sage advice. He said, don't ever tell anybody how easy it is, just cash the checks and smile. So, it's been a great ride. I think that the highlight probably was when I covered the Twins in '91 as their local broadcaster, and then was the sideline reporter in '91 during that great series when Kirby hit the home run in Game 6, and then watching Smoltz and Jack Morris go at it in Game 7. That was, I wasn't in the booth, but that was quite a treat getting an up-close look at that. And then the Yankee games for years, doing Boomer's Perfect Game, and as you guys have followed the Yankees during that time when Derek came up, it was the easiest job in baseball because they're winning all the time. So it was a real treat, particularly the '98 team, which might be the best team I've seen in the last 30, 40 years.
On the end there, Evan.
Jim, Francis Mantima from Single Canada, New York. Jim, can you tell me your time in New York as a player and having to Billy Martin as your manager?
Well, when I first took the red eye, the Phillies were not using me very much, and I had to be, out of desperation, they had to bring me in an extra inning game in San Diego, and I happened to pitch 3-4 good innings, and we won that game, and Bertie Tebbetts was in the stands scouting for the Yankees. So the next day, Paul Owens, general manager, calls me and said, well, you're going to the Yankees. So I caught the red eye that night. Got in early in the morning. I had to go right to the ballpark. Bob Lemon is sitting back in his chair with his feet on his desk, smoking a heater. He said, well, welcome to the Bronx Zoo. He said, you ready to pitch? I said, that's what I'm here for. And so I came into the game that day with the bases loaded. And of all things, I got my good friend and teammate, Rodney Carew, to hit into a double play. And then, of course, when Billy and I, he's coach in Minnesota, managed me in Minnesota, and then managing in New York, if Billy, he was such a great game manager. If you could have just locked him in his room at night and just put him in the dugout. Rod Carew stole home 7 times in '69 when Billy was our manager. So I loved him as a game manager. I loved him from a pitching standpoint because he'd let you pitch till you drop. Unless you were giving up the lead run. But then the flip side of that was he wanted you to throw a curveball to every hitter. And so he beat up his catchers pretty badly, second guessing. But I just could say playing for Billy was a unique experience.
Time for one more. The back there, Evan Spencer.
Hi, James Spencer Davidson from WKTV in Utica, New York. Congratulations, first
Thank
of all. You've known for months about your election, but the weekend's here, you're in Cooperstown. Just first off, what are your impressions of the village, kind of walking around here, and also, has it sunk in yet? What is taking place this weekend, and that you're a member of the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, well, I've been to the village many times. My first trip was in 1956 when I was a college freshman. My roommate was from Herkimer, and we came over on a Thanksgiving break. I still have a framed postcard I sent to my parents in 1956, and then I came here for Harmon's induction in '84. So I've been to about 7 or 8 of my teammates and very familiar with the village. I just think I'm so impressed with the attention to detail that Whitney and Shesta and Jane and all the people at the Hall of Fame, they just treat you like you're royalty. And now having my grandkids here, I played golf with them today, having a lot of family members here, seeing a lot of the present Hall of Famers. I understand how special it is, but I'm not trying to get too amped up because in my case, at this age, when it didn't appear I'd be in, I'm probably more humbled by it than excited by it.
All right. Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Cooperstown.
Thank you.
We're going to leave you on the stage here in a couple minutes.